garden graffiti, garden graffiti, garden graffiti, garden graffiti.
Hello beautiful, this is Dan, and today I'm going to show you how to make a raised garden bed from start to finish. And I know this whole undertaking may feel really intimidating, but I want you to know it's totally easy. I myself was scared, and after doing this, I realized it's super simple. Okay, so this is actually the exact bed we're gonna make, and this is the real one. I made this one and recorded the whole dang thing. So this bed is 12 feet long, and it's 4 foot wide. We've got this really nice little lip that we design on here and we can sit on, which minimizes back pain, and it just looks cool. And we are 2 feet up off the ground. You might be wondering why there's these little posts and why this is kind of, up. Don't worry, these will actually be buried in the ground. This will be flush with the soil. The principles I show you today can really be teased out and used for any size bed, so I encourage you to do that if a 12-foot long bed isn't ideal for your situation. Okay, let's get to the materials we need. Okay, let's talk about the wood you will need. So first of all, you're probably wondering, why is that wood so black? Well, I actually weatherproofed this wood, and what I did is I took a blowtorch to it, and it's this whole awesome process. Oh, you want to know how to do that? Well, guess what? I have a whole video that you can watch right here. There's a YouTube trick, and you can watch that video and be caught up to speed. But let's talk about the actual cuts that you'll need. Okay, so first and foremost, we have these very, very long, these are 2x12 boards, and we need 2 of these. These are 135 inches long. If we look at the bed here, that's these long dudes on the bottom here. These are the 2x12s. Next, we need 2 2x10s that are also 135 inches long. On the bed, it's just the one that's right above it, so you're being caught up to speed. Okay, next, we have 2 2x12s, and these are 42 inches long. We need 2 2x10s that are 42 inches long. And then last, we have these 4x4 posts. We're gonna need 12 of these, and these are 27 inches long. Okay, one more thing. Our final cut of wood are 2x6 boards. You know the little lip that we sit on top of for our bed? Well, that's what the 2x6s will be. And as you can see, there's a nice little 45-degree angle miter saw cut that it joins at a 90-degree angle. Now, I know I've been giving you all the wood measurements, and I want you to pre-cut all the stuff I've talked about, but for this section of the bed, I don't want you to do it yet. Reason being, I've now made a few of these beds, and I always end up having to recut my boards. Let me show you why. Because by the time that you get to this stage, and by the way, this bed is totally done, everything except for the little lips that we're talking about right now. When you get to this stage, as you will discover, there is going to be variation. So no matter how amazing you are at planning, you just can't account for the variation. See, the lips need to kind of line up exactly on the perimeter of this bed. And wood, this board, for example, is like an 1/8 inch thicker than this board. And then when we finally screw our beds in place, it moves ever so slightly. So you just really want to wait till it's here to do your measurements. Now, let me at least just give you some ballpark figures so you at least know what to order. So for each of these sides, again, we have 2x6 boards. You are going to need 2 that are roughly 13 feet long. You're going to be cutting these down, but trust me, get 13 feet. And then you will need 2, that's what these are, that are about 55 inches long. All right, well, I think that's awesome. So if you want to know how to get your bed to this state and beyond, let's do it. Let's make our bed. All right, party people. So as you can see, we are indoors now. We have a little work garage, and it's really helpful because we have a flat surface, which is going to help us keep everything nice and flush. If you don't have that, all good. You could use a driveway, just something flat so you can kind of keep these things even. All right, so here's where we're starting. We are starting with one of our long 2x10 boards. So one of our 135-inch boards, and we have 4 of our posts. Here is where everything is. This first post is going to be 14.5 inches in from the end of this board, okay? So that's where you're gonna place it, 14.5 inches. You're gonna do the same thing on the other end here. So 14.5 inches right to the middle of the post. And then this post is 3 feet away from this guy. So measure from the middle here, right to here, 3 feet, and then 3 feet to this guy. What else? We are assembling this bed upside down, so just keep that in mind. This is the inside of our bed, and so we are going to be putting our screws through here into this little board here, and you won't see those screws, right? So it'll just look magical. We have our drill, and we have wood screws. Highly recommend doing a screw that's at least 4 inches long. Reason being, the width of this is 2 inches, so you really want something to grab onto this guy. Last thing, I have a nice C-clamp so we can just keep this connection nice and snug. Okay, let's begin. Okay, to affix this board to this post, I'm just gonna do 3 screws and I'm gonna kind of stagger them. So I'll do one like in the top left, one in the middle, and then one on the bottom right. So now we're kind of like finishing the perimeter. We're taking our 2x10, this is the 42-inch one. We're gonna take 2 of our posts and put the posts 8 inches in. So again, I'm kind of doing right smack dab in the middle. Take my post there, 8 inches in, and then I'm gonna do the same thing over here. Then I'm going to clamp them, and then I am going to screw them. Okay, so let's do the same thing on the other side. Got our 2x10, the 42-inch board, 2 more posts, and I'm just gonna repeat the process. Okay, we have all of our 2x10s done now. So our short boards and our long boards, and we are going to join them. So this is kind of now like the perimeter of our bed, the base, if you will, but remember it's upside down. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of just put this right here, and then, yes, and then be sure that the long boards go on the outside here. So the short little 42-inch guys go on the inside of the long boards. I'll give you a new angle so you can see that. See that? Make sense? All right, party. So yeah, I just want to make sure these are kind of in the right spots. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And then also here, yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, so before I screw the long 2x10 boards to the short 2x10 boards, I'm gonna take a clamp. This is a 4-foot long clamp, super big clamp, and I just wanna keep this super tight so there's no little slivers of space. So it's perfectly snug. And then, yeah, do all the clamp things, and then I'm just gonna screw it together. Hey, and definitely if you've got the clamps, use them. This is like a 26-inch clamp. I'm gonna use this to just keep this connection nice and snug before I screw them. That didn't sound how I wanted it to. Okay, we have our base, our perimeter complete. The 2x10s are all adjoined to one another. The posts are where they need to be, and we are cooking. Okay, so now on to the 2x12s. As you can see, we still have 2 of our long 2x12 boards and then 2 of the short ones. We're gonna do the same exact thing, just stacking on the 2x10s. So I'm gonna take this in and then come in to my bed, put it where it needs to go. I will line it up and then screw it together. Okay, so before I start bringing in all my 2x12s, let me just give you a few quick reminders. So first and foremost, wood is a natural material, so there will be some variation. By that, I mean it might bend in certain areas, right? Like these are long boards, so it's gonna bow a little bit. So definitely do a puzzle thing, like move it around. So maybe this long board is better on this side. You know, maybe it just works better with the 2x10 it's on top of, because the 2x10 is also a natural material and it might, you know what I'm trying to say? So just really place them before you screw these things and make sure they're in the right spot. Kind of related, you know, if you order your wood from a lumber mill and they tell you that you're getting like 12-foot pieces or, you know, 135-inch pieces, you got to measure it and really make sure. I'd even make sure while you're there, because you really want this to be exact. You can have a little overhang, like it could hang, you know, you could have a little more peeking out on the ends, but it just doesn't look as good. And it's a pretty easy fix, especially if you're cutting your own wood. Like, just really make sure it's perfectly lined up. And then the last thing, and this is a tip that I give you from somebody who's made a bunch of these beds now. On my first few beds, you know, there was kind of like a little gap between this bottom board and the top board. So I would take like a sandbag, or I'm gonna use a cinder block, or even somebody could sit on this. And, you know, before you screw it in, have some weight going down so there's not that gap. And then, of course, I'm going to do a C-clamp the same way. And we're doing the same thing that we did in the bottom, right? We're going to take a screw and we're going to do, you know, 3 holes, you know, 1, 2, 3, however you want to do them. We're going to clamp this together, have this pushing down, and then we're off to the races. Okay, we have our 2x12s in now. We have our base, our perimeter completely done. And now we just need to flip our bed. Welcome everybody to the site of a newly flipped bed. So first and foremost, you might be kind of confused why my whole bed is black and then the posts are light. Well, you know, earlier I was mentioning the importance of making sure all of your lumber is cut and even and perfectly symmetrical. Well, I ordered these from the lumber mill and I actually asked them to cut them to the length I needed them, and they were a little bigger and uneven. So I sawed them right before I filmed. It's not gonna be a big deal because I'm gonna be covering these with the lip, but I just wanted to explain that to you so you're not totally confused. Okay, we are now to the stage where we are going to be putting on the lips, the little things that you sit on top of the bed. Because again, remember, we flipped the bed, so it is now right side up. So the important thing to remember, as I told you earlier, we don't want to pre-cut this. We want to wait till our bed is in this state to make sure that our measurements are perfect. Because as you saw in the video, we're using C-clamps and things are moving, so we're not going to fully know what our measurements are until now. So just to give you a sneak preview, and then I'm going to come grab my camera and show you a lot closer. We want to be measuring our perimeter. So this inner part of the bed, these are the measurements we want. Let me give you a closer look. Okay, so this is an overhead view of one of the ends of our beds. So as I explained, the way that we figure out how long our lips need to be is we measure our inner perimeter. We go from here all the way to here. Now, as you may have figured out, our inner perimeter is just the same size as this board itself. And when it comes to our end boards, that is 100% correct. The more difficult one, and the reason I'm having you wait to measure, is because of these long boards. These long boards don't go from the end, shaking my fingers. They go from here. Again, inner perimeter. We measure from here. So let's show you the principles. We measure our inner perimeter. Inner perimeter equals 42 inches. What do we do with that information? Well, for our miter saw cut, our shorter side of our board needs to be 42 inches. Now, a miter saw, if you don't know, is just a saw that cuts at an angle. There's lots of videos on the internet. But again, all this means is for our shorter side, we have a shorter side and our longer side. Our shorter side needs to match up with what we just measured. So this shorter side is 42 inches. Boom, that goes there. Let me show you a different angle. All right, new angle, who dis? So as you can see, it's just gonna go there. So let's just go around here. So again, we take that little L intersection. We just want to put that right there, right? Get that? That's why it's really important to just meticulously measure everything. Let me give you some new angles. Oh, look at that. It's starting to look like a fully done bed. Okay, right. Again, you put that right to the point. It'll be better when I screw it down. I'll show you kind of here. All right, let's keep going. Okay, I know I'm being redundant, but I'm a former teacher, and that's just what we do. Okay, again, now we're going to do our long board. So again, inner perimeter. We don't do the edge of the boards. No, shaking my head. Inner perimeter, and we measure all the way down to the inner perimeter at the end of the bed. And on my bed, it's 131.5. So what's that mean? On my 2x6 lip that I got sitting right here, the short side from end to end, from short side to short side, needs to be the same as what we just measured. So that needs to be 131.5. A few quick notes. On your bed might not be 131.5. There might be some variation. Also, this side on my bed is actually a little bit different than this side. So again, always measure those. Party. Okay, now we should have all of our railings, our 2x6 railings, measured and cut. After we do this, we then want to treat the wood like we did the rest of the bed. See how this wood is this dark color? We want to do the same thing with our railings. So I took a blowtorch and I did all that. Again, as I said earlier, if you want to learn how to do that, watch this video right here. I did a whole video and you can just watch that and be caught up. Okay, so now we just need to freaking screw down our railings. I want you to start on your long sides. So we're going to first screw in our railings on our long sides. Use some C-clamps, you know the drill. Let's get them in their perfect spot and then start screwing them down. Hey, super quick note here. So obviously, right, we're screwing down our lip to the frame and the post. I'm gonna put screws, obviously you go through the lip. I'm gonna do screws to the frame and then to the post and then to the frame. I'm gonna kind of stagger it like that, but definitely go to both of them. And don't do too many screws. You don't need to get too carried away. It'll be sturdy. All right, so we obviously got the long lip totally screwed down, and I've been doing the shorter lip. Feel free to kind of screw the lip to the lip. You know, they meet at this nice little, this corner. So, you know, if you really want to try to get them close together, you can do that as well. That is my last screw. This bed is done. Let's take it outside so you can get a better look. Okay, my friends, here is our beautiful completed raised bed. And what I'm just doing right now is I'm gonna walk around our bed ever so slowly so you can just see it from multiple angles. Sometimes when you're building, it's still hard to understand how something is supposed to look, so that's what we're doing right now. And I'm also, right after this little video right here, I am going to take some still photographs of the bed and interlay some measurements so you can just screenshot those and keep them in your phone while you're building. Okay. And we are done. That's a wrap. Thank you so much for watching today, my friends. I hope this video was helpful. And I just have a few more quick notes if you have a second. Number one, if you're intimidated about building a bed, you are in good company. I was so scared. I thought I could never do it. And then after the fact, I realized it's not that bad. So if you have little to no experience, I just implore you to stick with it. You can do it, and you're gonna feel great after the fact. On that thread, I wanna thank my friend Micah, who answered all of my questions along the way over FaceTime. Thanks, Micah. And then last, and this is very important, my friend Steve, also known as Grow It Organically on Instagram, this is his bed design. He's one of the best gardeners in the game. He's been at it for over 30 years, way before people were even talking about organic food. So if you end up building this bed, please consider throwing him a few bucks. The PayPal link is in the description of this video. I'd appreciate it. Thank you all. Love you. Talk soon.